Hello, I'm Jennifer Keller, Programming Coordinator with the Westport Library. Today, I'm honored to bring you not one, but three authors who have published award-winning bestsellers during the past year, who are going to discuss life after the first publication between themselves. So first we have Angie Kim. She's the author of the national bestseller Miracle Creek, named a Best Book of the Year by Time, The Washington Post, Kirkus, Library Journal, The Today Show, and many others. Julia Phillips.
Hi.
Is the author of Disappearing Earth, which is being published now in 23 languages and was a finalist for the National Book Award. And then we also have Melissa Rivero.
Hi.
She's the author of Affairs of the Falcons, which won the New American Voices Award, was nominated for the Penn Hemingway Debut Novel Prize, the Aspen Words Literary Prize, and the Center for Fiction's First Novel Prize. So I'm glad to have you all here today. And ladies, the screen is yours.
First of all, thank you so much to Jennifer and to Westport Library for having us.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be here with you guys this morning and get to chat, even if it's not in real life. It's just nice to see your faces.
Yeah.
I know, I love that.
And
so should we start off talking about how we first met?
yes, please. Our love story.
Who wants to go? Who wants to go? Because I'm drinking coffee and need it desperately.
Well, I'll start with how I was invited to the group. Kali actually invited me to the group. I didn't even know there was a group that existed.
Oh,
but yeah, Kali Fajardo.
Kali.
Yeah,
Kali.
she was like, I need to add you to this group. And yeah, it was our debut authors, a Facebook group called Debut Authors 2019. And when was that? Was that like sometime in 2018? It must have been.
Yeah, it was
definitely 2018. Yeah, definitely.
And that's how we all connected. And then some of us, like the New York-based folks, would get together in real life. And I remember, Julia, honestly, the first time I saw you, it was like love at first sight. Like, was it at Obon Pen, or it was or some, I forget where it was, but it was at like, or Le Pen Quotidien. I don't know, but it was like.
When you say it was love at first sight, you mean I immediately fell in love with you at first sight, and you're like, let me sit next to someone else. I was like, it was so, well, that Facebook group.
And I met you guys at one of those New York ones when I was up. I was doing like some sort of like first edition signing or whatever, like a month before my book came out. And so I crashed one of the New York debut authors get-togethers, and that was so fun. That night was so fun. We had pizza. We went to a bar. Remember that bar in Brooklyn, and like had really bad pizza or something. No, we couldn't even get the pizza at the bar. Remember, they didn't have any food. So Julia, you had to go.
Melissa and I
for us. We went to get pizza.
Oh, you too. Okay.
Yeah, we went on an excursion to get some pizza into like a basement pizza. these are the highs of the debut year. It's amazing. That Facebook group was everything. I mean, it is everything.
It really was.
What, maybe a couple hundred people of all different publishing sort of journeys, like some folks with, big 5 publishers, and some folks with independent publishers, and some folks with, I want to say like some self-publishers, or some like all sorts of different journeys and books and material and backgrounds, and coming together and talking about their debut experience.
And by the end of 2019, like now, I think it is several hundred. So it's gotten a little intimidating, to sort of say anything out there just because there's so many people. But back when we were, on there, I sort of think of us as the originals, and we were like, there were like 50 of us or 40 of us or whatever, and we used to get on every single day.
Oh my gosh!
Like, guys, what are blurbs and how do we draft an email to authors asking them for blurbs? And then remember, we would like post our cover art and we'd be like, what do we think of this? Should I say yes, I love it, or should I say no, it's awful? Like, and so we would just turn to each other for everything. It was so awesome.
Yeah.
I
remember, Angie, when your title changed and and I remember thinking,
my title changed.
If I were her.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous. And Julia, I was just looking up, I forget why I was looking up your email for something that I needed yesterday. And it somehow, like, the default order of the emails changed from like newest to oldest.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, what is this weird email that Julia just sent me? And I was like, no, this is from like 2 years ago when you first read my arc. And I had asked people to please be on the lookout for some formatting issues with my Kindle. You sent me screenshots. It was so awesome.
I was so obsessed. I had just read your book. I was just, both of your books. I remember exactly where I was when I read them because I was crying in public as I read them. Like, unbelievably good books that just made me weep in front of strangers over and over again. Angie, I remember being on an elevator and crying with yours, and Melissa, I was on the train and crying with yours. I don't cry that much with books, I don't think. So. But that was part of the fun of the group, that we all got to exchange our books with each other and read them together.
Absolutely.
And it was also like so much anxiety going into the process.
So much anxiety.
So much, yeah.
And I don't know if I was talking with a friend of mine who has a book coming out this month. And she's had books come out before, but she was like, I forget how stressful this book launch period is. And when I think back on what a lifesaver that Facebook group was, I think about what a lifesaver it was to have a place to all be in the sort of same anxious boat together and
absolutely
be so scared.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't know anything. I mean, I think this publishing journey is just so hard for everybody, and it's constantly changing. So I imagine that like the next book that we go through this with, I'm sure will be different from, but never having done it before with all of us being debuts and, and I feel like for the first books, especially like some of us have been working on them for like a decade or more. And so, here are our precious babies, and we were so anxious and we didn't know anything. And the anxiety of that, it was just such a lifesaver to, be able to turn to other people who are similarly neurotic and be like, okay, at least I'm not the only one that's feeling this way. There's comfort in being miserable together, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys have like a piece of advice that you give folks whose first books are about to come out? Do you have a way that you sort of, now that we have, 1 year of experience with books out in the world, like, do you have a way that you talk about it with folks who are about to head into this process? Because it feels like we've learned so much. And also still feel so ignorant of how publishing works and how anything works. But what an education it's been.
Yeah, I want to go last on this question because I want to see what you guys say. This is like mind is a blank right now. I have no idea. Have I learned anything? I don't know.
I received this piece of advice and I didn't take it. And in retrospect, I wish I had. I would make sure to get a therapist 2 to 3 months before, as you're ramping up and publicity starts ramping up for the book. Just because it is such a new experience, and you are inevitably going to compare yourself to what other people are getting versus what you're not getting. What you are getting can be good for you, but also I find that your ego is affected. If it's good, then your ego can you run the risk of your ego getting inflated. If you feel like it's not good for whatever reason, then that will make you feel like crap. And you've got other stuff going on in your life too. And I think it's important to remember that. And that you can forget that when you're so wrapped up in like Angie said, a book that you've been working on like for years, that becomes your all, and you forget that like you have to take care of yourself. You have friends, you have family, you have other people. You may have a job too that you can't necessarily neglect, because I hate to burst people's bubbles, but like it's not like you become like financially like things automatically change once you become a published writer.
And you may be like a high-powered lawyer who is super cool and has another thing going on, Melissa.
I mean, I frankly, I hopefully no one at my job listens to this. Like, I don't want to be a lawyer for the rest of my life, right? So maybe at some point I can like,
Yeah.
but for now I need to pay the bills, and I've got loans, I've got kids and stuff. But I feel like a therapist would have helped me manage my emotions, manage my expectations, maybe not made me feel so bad at certain moments, and also reminded me that like, this is just one aspect of my life. It's not my entire life. And so I think that would be really helpful for a debut author.
Yes. I
I
remember
think that's very, very smart. Yeah.
I remember when I sold the book, going for drinks with a friend, and the first thing she was like, "Congratulations! Like, so are you already seeing a therapist, or have you set up a therapist to like begin seeing?" and I really remembered it because at the time I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is the happiest moment of my whole life. What do I need to process?" But there's so much to the happiness you need to process. Like, there's so much to have help working through. Oh God.
Julia, what about you? What's your one piece of advice?
I'm trying to think. I think similar to what Melissa said in terms of just like sort of working on your approach and expectations and hopes and goals around. There's so much pressure around the launch day. There's so much pressure around the moment when it comes out, or this feeling like this will make or break my whole, everything that happens with the book, or everything that happens with my career, my literary career, or like, I felt like there was this enormous pressure on an anticipation of the first, moment that it like we are waiting so long for this launch, and it's so stressful. And I wish I had practiced more remembering that the launch is just one day in a whole life, and there's like, it's not all about that. I felt so preoccupied for months and months beforehand. Like, I was just waiting for my life to begin on this one day, and then how that one day went was going to be the most important thing in the world. And I wish I had remembered that. Like, I remember some people saying to us, this was also advice I didn't follow, Melissa, but people saying like, the best thing you can do to help your first book is just write future books. And like, the more books you write, the more, they'll all sell each other going back. And don't worry, don't put so much pressure on this one thing. But I definitely put a lot of pressure on this one thing. I have this really sharp memory of talking with my mom a couple weeks before the book came out, and she was like talking about her day, or like talking about something that was going on with her. And I remember thinking the thought, I don't understand why we're talking about anything but my book coming out. Like, it was it was like the self-centeredness and like a self-obsession of this book coming out was so, I just like gave it everything. I like fed it and fed it and fed it in myself, the obsession over it, and think of any other thing. And I wish I had reminded myself in practice, like, other stuff is going on that matters.
No, but it's so hard because it is your baby, but I think I just have to echo everything that you guys just said, because I didn't have a therapist, and really, but I think I actually used you guys as my therapist. I remember calling and texting you guys with the littlest thing that would happen. I'd be like, "Oh, this happened," or "This didn't happen," and "Oh, did you see so and so in our group got blah 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 thing that none of the rest of us got," or whatever it was. And I do think that it's helpful to have people like our group, you know, whether it be the group in the aggregate or like a smaller subgroup or whatever it is, like people that you feel comfortable being vulnerable with, and forcing yourself to actually say out loud your disappointments, you know, just so it doesn't get sort of, you know, it doesn't grow into sort of this independent monster, you know, sort of festers and becomes its own thing. And so I think that's important. And also, Melissa, like, I totally agree about the highs and the lows. And sometimes I remember those highs and lows would come like within an hour. So like at the beginning of the hour, I'd be like, oh my God, this happened. Oh, my book is the best thing in the world. It's going to be a mega bestseller in like one instant. And then like 30 minutes later, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. Why did I even think that I could do this thing? And I need to just go back to doing something else and just pick a totally different career, because obviously I'm horrible at this and my book is like awful and I don't even know why I'm doing this. And so you can just go, and I do think that those extremes, which is why we need therapists, but, or like each other to sort of like slap us around and in those moments be like, okay, Angie, just stop. Like, it's not like the worst thing and it's not the best thing. Like, it's, you know, just have a little perspective. And like you said, Julia, just remembering that something, and even the comparisons with each other, just remembering that that's not like whatever is happening at one moment. Like, just because you got in a mention in one magazine and your friend didn't, doesn't mean that, you know, 3 years from now, it's going to be reversed, or even a week from now, it's going to, you know, so it's all sort of like evens out in some weird way. And we just have to sort of, you know, think of our books as their own thing. It's like having multiple children. Like, yes, at any given moment, one of them might be your favorite, but that's going to change from moment to moment. This is what I always tell the kids when they're like, so-and-so is your favorite. And I'm like, you know what? Yesterday you were my favorite. So there you go.
Tomorrow is anybody's game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Who's here to make me pizza and, you know, and bring me wine?
It's amazing to think about how important it's been. I was thinking about this the other day, earlier this week, like how lucky it feels to have a community of people, a community of artists that you can talk to, you know, a community of writers where you can say, like, we're going through this together. It's hard. It's tough. And I was thinking, are you guys meeting with your, you know, we're in this shelter in place moment. Are you guys meeting with your writing groups and sharing work right now? Or how is it? Like, Melissa, because you have this long-standing, incredible writing group. I'm thinking about you guys like all go to a coffee shop together, and
I'll go to like Green Grape, right across the street from Greenlight, to write. But no, we haven't been together because it's just been really hard to. I feel like people are just now starting to get comfortable with like a social distancing picnic. Maybe we'll do that and have that be a writing date. But it's also just really hard to write.
Yeah.
I don't know how you all are doing with your next project, and maybe this is a good segue into talking about that, but like I'm finding it very hard to carve out the time and the space, the mental space, to create. And I think for me, a big part of that was that, you know, like you said, Julia, like I still work full time, right? And so once I dropped off my kids at school, I had like an hour roughly commute from drop off to the office, and that's when I would write or think about my project or jot down notes or listen to Bad Bunny and pretend I'm 22 and going to go to the club when I'm actually going to go to the office.
That's a very important process.
Yeah. But that's all. Yeah, that was all like my time. And on the weekends, I would go to a coffee shop to write. And now I don't have that. It's like the moment you get up, I don't know what is up with my children, but they're up at 6 a.m. They're up super early. And then it's like, go, 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 because now it's distance learning. And then I have to work. and then I have to feed them. My husband is back in his studio, so he's doing his own creative thing, which is good for him. There's a little bit of resentment there because I don't have my space. Like I don't. And now my work, like my job, my day job stuff, I'm doing in the space that I had made mine for my creative work.
Yeah.
And it feels polluted. It feels polluted with like red lines and contracts. How am I supposed to do my characters? Where's the inspiration in the space anymore? You know, so that's been really hard. And I've got like a decent chunk of a draft done for my next project, but like I don't know, if I look back on it, maybe it's all garbage. I don't know, but I don't feel as inspired, and I also don't feel like I have the infrastructure or whatever like in place to actually get there, because all the things that I relied on before aren't anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Julia? Are you writing?
Well, I haven't. I've had a bad like past 5 days of not really doing anything. But Angie, thank God for you, brought me into this like Zoom writing session thing where at 10 a.m. all of these writers sign on, and they're all, are they all thriller writers, Angie, or
are they all pro writers, did you say?
Thriller writers?
Oh, I think, yes. It's sort of, thriller-ish, noir-ish, I think. Yeah, because the two people who created it, who started it, are thriller noir writers. And so
they seem to like crank like books out like thousands of words a day. Like they're doing and then I sign on for 20 minutes and I'm like, I'm gonna change one sentence, and then I sort of like roll around and then give up. But having
but at least you're doing something. Whereas like at the end of the day, they're like, okay, I got 4,000 words done today. What about you, Angie? And I'll be like, well, I've been on here for 4 hours and I have not written a single thing. Look, seriously, I still haven't started my novel. I'm just still in that pre-drafting exploration, like figuring out what my characters were and or are, like who should be the protagonist, like all of that sort of stuff. So I'm not writing any words at all. And so there you go. You can feel better.
I think like the pollution feeling, Melissa, or like the sort of lack of separate space and physical space to create separate mental space is so I find that in the past, I would try not to use my computer in bed, for example, like because I felt like, but we have a 1-bedroom, and you know, if I'm not using my computer in bed, like where I'm using it on the couch, or I'm using it in bed, that's where I'm using it. And now, like I use my computer in bed, and then sometimes I'll write, but then a lot of times I'm just like lying down, going on Reddit, and not doing anything, or like putting off answering work emails, or just like it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. But you guys should do what I do, which is write in a literal closet. This is what I've always done. Okay, my house is ridiculously large, and yet it's, I think it's like 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms or something. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Anyway, and yet I write in a little closet off of my bedroom that is not even the master closet. It's just like a space of, I think it's not like 4 by 4 or something. Seriously, it's like smaller than Harry Potter's cupboard under the stairs. Okay, and it's got the sloped ceiling, so you can't even stand. I have to sit on the floor, and there's nothing in there except blank walls and a laptop and pencils and pens and notebooks. That's all I have in there. And
Angie, I love this so much.
Take a picture of this, Angie.
And
I know.
In fact, I'll show you right now. I'm right next to it. This is my room. Like here. Okay. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah, that's all it is. And so I go in there for writing only. And the other day I was starting to like respond to a work email. Yeah. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I closed my laptop and I went downstairs to my like kitchen, place where I do all my bills and stuff. And I answer the email from there, because I was like, I don't want to pollute this. Like, this is my creative space, and I want to save this for just that.
I don't know if this is a Brooklyn dweller dream or if dreams that
right. Yeah.
But like I literally have dreams sometimes, Melissa. I don't know if you have that there's an extra room in my apartment that like I go, that like you open a door and the idea of like a 4x4 space with empty walls is truly sounds like
right.
like ecstasy. You just like open a door in your bedroom and there it is. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Right. I think it was
So
our
amazing.
Luggage closet. Like I think it's the closet where you're meant to put your luggage or something. I don't know.
Wow.
And so I was just like, okay, well, and what's funny is we have this beautiful home office that like overlooks our backyard and trees and sky and and it's got an actual desk in it and books and all this stuff, and and nobody's using it. It has the printer, and I was just like, no, that's not what I need. Like blank walls. I need to just like be able to tape, charts and like little drawings that I do that are what my character would draw. Like whatever it is, I need to just put up on the. So fun. Julia, didn't you just get a critique of the first section of your second novel the other day? How'd that go? Was it fun?
Well, we've been trying to like meet writing group by Zoom, which has been really hard, but really good. So we had a meeting and workshopped my first chapter, and it was so great and like was so sort of gave so much momentum, and it made me think about like appreciate all over again about how much this process is fueled by being with other people or talking to other people or getting to connect together over this work that we do separately, because it's really hard by yourself maybe by myself, it's really hard to sort of maintain momentum or even build any momentum at all.
Yeah.
Oh, how are we doing on time, Jennifer?
We need to wrap up. I think that's a sign for wrap up.
I'm thinking of you guys a lot. I hope we can all gather together soon and
I know.
And write together. And drink together.
So wonderful. Oh, definitely drink together. Definitely drink together. Oh, Julia, when you give birth, like after you have the baby, I wanna like drive up there and play with your baby.
I'm so excited for this baby to disrupt all barely put together writing routines. But you guys, I think about you guys all the time as working parents and parent writers and authors and how what incredible work you do. And so that's you're the idols, I guess, like put you on the pedestal and trying to follow your lead. So I'm very excited to keep on checking in about how the heck this works.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh my goodness. I miss you guys so much. I miss going to like fun places and and trying to plan our outfits for what we're gonna wear so that we don't look like so that we sort of match each other when we go out to dinners, at various writing conferences.
Very important. One day.
Okay.
Oh my
Jennifer,
gosh.
thank you so much for helping us come together like this. What a gift.
Oh, Angie, Melissa, Julia, this has been such a pleasure to get a view of what writing is like these days and what it's like coming off of your first book and working on your new ones and juggling children and everything else that you have in your life. It was eye-opening, it was funny and heartfelt, and I had a great time watching you, so thank you so much. And if I can come for drinks and pizza too, just let me know.
Oh,
always pizza.
Yes,
Always pizza.
Completely. Always.
That's the best part.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
on behalf of the
And
whole
also,
Westport Library patrons and all of us, thank you so much, our community. And for those of you at home, remember that you can either purchase these 3 books, Miracle Creek, Disappearing Earth, or The Affairs of Falcone, or all 3, from your favorite retailer, or take them out from the Westport Library. And thank you all so very much for coming to our Zoom presentation today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, ladies. I'll miss you.
I know, I'm wishing to Zoom every second. Bye, guys.
I want to